$1.9 million is exactly how much my window cleaning business has generated me in the last 3 years of owning it, ever since I started it when I was a junior in high school, and was able for me to sell my Audi R8 last month, buy my next dream car, live in my penthouse, and sell a company for over $400,000 the day after I graduated high school. And there's so many things that I wish I knew sooner about business and about entrepreneurship that simply I didn't learn until recently. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys specifically about just things in my business and in my life that I wish I knew sooner, and things that were able to generate me a lot of money at a young age of owning a business, and the mindset that was able to take me there. So specifically, the number one thing that I want to talk to you guys about is, like I said, the mindset that actually took me to being able to sell a business for $400,000 the day after I graduated high school. There's so many things inside the mindset from the time when I actually started my business, which when I actually started my business, I was a junior in high school, and I literally did not talk to any of my friends. I literally did not talk to any of my friends. The only thing I cared about was growing my business and making money every single day. That was simply the only thing that actually mattered to me, was growing my business, not talking to friends, not caring about school. I dropped everyone and anything except if it made me money and it generated me revenue. That was the only thing I cared about. I was knocking on doors for my entire life. And for my entire life in high school, the only thing I did was knock on doors. And that was the only thing I cared about because it actually made me money. I did not care about what other people thought. I did not care about going to a football game on Friday night. I did not care about drinking. I did not care about partying. The only thing I cared about was making money. And because that's the only thing that has ever mattered to me, is making money and growing my business is the only thing that truly matters to me and fulfills me. And, at the end of the day, like I said, when I started, I was a junior in high school. I was knocking doors in the freezing cold, and eventually I had hired some of my friends, and I'd realized that, okay, I don't really want my friends to be working for me. I want people that are going to be with my business forever and going to want to grow with me and scale with me and expand with me. I want those people to work for my business. I don't want some random high school kid that's going to be leaving me to go to college and drink and party in 5 months to be working for me. So then I hired technicians, and I hired a lot of technicians that worked for my business, and eventually they had got me there because it really made me realize, okay, great, what do I want out of my life? Okay, at that point in my life, I realized, what do I want in my life? And what I wanted was, I wanted a big business, and I wanted a car, and I wanted a nice penthouse, which is everything I have now. But essentially, that's exactly what I always have thought about is what do I want? So what I wanted, like I said, was literally like I said, the penthouse, the nice car, the lifestyle. That's exactly what I wanted. So I started chasing that. Within 4 months of starting my window cleaning business, from having absolutely $0 in my bank account, I bought a 2016 C63S for $45,000 in cash. I may not have had that much money in my bank account after, but I bought a 2016 C63 for $45,000 cash when I was still in high school, and it was the absolute best thing ever. And when I bought that car, I'll never forget every single person, their look on their face. They never looked at me the same because they realized, oh, Grady, he was actually doing something on those nights when he never came out. Oh, when he never came out to eat with us, he was actually working. And they realized that my work was actually starting to pay off, and it was starting to be something kind of cool and something that people could actually be worthy of. So, and then, like I said, later on in that year, I was located in Pennsylvania at the time because this is originally where I grew up. I had started my business in April, and then later in that year, towards November, December, it was freezing cold. It was 10, 15 degrees, absolutely brutal out. You literally could not even survive. It was so cold. And then later in that year, I had essentially just devoted my life to the business. I had just devoted my entire life. It was the only thing I cared about. It was the only thing I wanted to do, was just grow my business and essentially, literally just grow and become better. So it came to the point where it was like, it's 10 to 15 degrees out. I can be a little bitch and I can stay inside and not make any money, or I can go out there in 10 to 15 degree weather and make $250 a day for knocking for 8 hours of my life. And that's exactly what I did. And that's the mindset that made me the money and the person that I am today, is literally having that elite mindset of being able to do anything and keep going even when shit gets hard. So throughout the whole winter, 10 to 15 degrees, I was knocking doors every single day, cleaning windows every single day in the freezing cold, my hands falling off, with technicians leaving, with equipment breaking, with having to pull up my car to the next to a house, turn on the heat to max, put in my deionization tank into the seat of my car, turn on the heat to max, and then operate my tank out of my car because it was simply too cold on the outside of that house. That is exactly the mindset that you need if you want to be successful at a young age, is literally having that elite mindset of being able to do anything and everything what it takes to actually get to your goals and your aspirations. So if you're able to do that, you will be successful. And then later on that year, like I said, March, I was making $100,000 per month in high school, and then I'd eventually cracked that. And I kind of took the winter to think about like specifically, okay, what do I really, really, really want in my life? Because like I said, I was a junior, I was going into my senior year, I was going to go to college. I was originally going to go to college. I was super set on going to college, and I realized, do I really want to go to college, or do I want to do something else in my life? So I kind of decided, okay, what else do I want to do in my life? And I decided that essentially what I want to do with my life is I want to not go to college, and I want to go all into my business and simply scale it to the absolute moon. So later in that year, like I said, March and April, I had $100,000 per month, $112,000 per month in May. And then eventually I had hired a bunch of technicians. I had about 10 technicians when I was in high school, about 10 salesmen, and then about maybe like 5 to 10,000 followers on Instagram, because I started growing my personal brand and showing others how to do the exact same thing that I was doing, showing them how to grow and scale their window cleaning business. Just because of the experience I had, I was so knowledgeable on how to actually coach them to start their own window cleaning business, which is what I do now. I help a lot of people start and scale their window cleaning business. But like I said, we had about 10 technicians. We were doing $112,000 per month, and I had sold my business, when I was a senior in high school, the day after I graduated. And I moved out here. And then when I moved out here, the mindset I had was, okay, I have a lot of capital stacked up. What are we going to do to deploy that and make a business? So I invested $10,000, and I took the biggest risks I've ever taken in my life. I invested $10,000 in a van, another $10,000 in a van. I bought a nice car, I bought a nice apartment, I bought all these things, and eventually it all worked out because people had really started to realize, and I really started to realize, okay, if I invest money into my business, I will eventually make it back in the long run, but not in the short run. So I'd started to invest a ton of money into my business to make it better in the long run, because I realized I actually want a sustainable business. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And this is what I really, really see myself doing. So I started to invest a lot of money into actually my business to start scaling it. And I really just realized that if there's no risk, there's no reward. Like I said, I teach every single person inside of my coaching program exactly this exact mindset. So, literally, what do you want out of your life? Do you want to invest so much money to, get a nice car? Do you want to invest some money to get a nice business? And that's what I chose. Is I spent so much money to grow my business, and I went through so many hardships when I started my business from scratch. Literally, I had gone through brutal business stories of losing equipment, of all these just brutal, bad things that have happened to me. I'd gone through every single one when I first started my business, and it was just horrible. It was just so horrible, and it really took a toll on my mental health. And eventually, things kind of got a little bit steady. They were kind of rocky, and they got pretty steady towards the end of the year. At the end of 2025, things got pretty steady with my business. I was hiring reliable technicians. I was hiring reliable salesmen. We had sales coming in, consistent sales. We had recurring contracts, and eventually, that's where it got to me now. And now, literally, my mindset is just like, okay, we want to have a reliable business. We want to have a business that has recurring revenue. So how do we do that? So we have, specifically, what do we need? We need recurring revenue. We need technicians that are here to stay. We need salesmen that are here to stay. We need consistent lead flow. And yeah, that's pretty much what we have. So that's literally the mindset that has got me to exactly where I'm at. Like I said, that's exactly what I coach people to do as well. So like I said, I've made a lot of money at my age. I'm 19 years old. I made a ton of money at my age, for everything that I've done. I've gone pretty far in my business in my life, and it takes a specific mindset and a specific type of person to actually be able to do that. And it's just, the one thing I can say is just like, having an elite mindset is truly going to take you places that motivation will never take you. If you can have a mindset that is elite, you will go places that nothing else can take you. Like I said, I'm going to end that video kind of there. If you guys are interested, like I said, more about what I do and specifically how I got here to live in my penthouse, drive my dream car, my second dream car, live my dream life, go out to dinners whenever I want, have financial freedom, sell a business for $400,000 the day after I graduated high school, I'm going to leave a link to the little book called Me. I do coaching for businesses, people that own service-based businesses doing $10,000 per month or more. I basically help you on specifically how you can scale or start your window cleaning business, service-based business, anything like that. So click that link below, book a call with me. I'll show you exactly what are the systems and stuff that you need inside your business to scale, to get consistent jobs, to hire technicians, to stop doing everything yourself in the day-to-day operation. And we'll kind of go from there. I'll leave a link to that in the description. If you guys need anything else, let me know. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.